Hey y'all, so we're just gonna jump right on in. So this episode is called Girls Getaway from Me. And this is season 8, episode 14. And I will say that this episode does not disappoint. You get suspense, you get drama, you get action, you get confrontation, and you get mostly all of the women in the same setting. So previously we've been having scenes where it's like, you get a couple of people here and a couple of people there. You get the new people together and then you got the old people together. So now we got pretty much everybody with the exception of the men, but you have most of the women together and it is really, really entertaining. So jumping right on into my rating for this episode, I have to give it a 10 out of 10. Like this episode really brought all of the elements that we look for in these reality shows. I feel like this episode, even though it was not meant to be this way, I don't believe on Miss Nell's part, she definitely brought the comedic relief that I feel like a lot of us have been searching for within the reality TV realm. Some of the episodes tend to be a little bit heavy and a little bit toxic, so you need that something or someone that's going to break that up and give you some level of like, whew, a giggle or two. Like we want to be entertained, we want to laugh, we don't want just the drama all the time. So I love that it had that aspect in this episode. So starting out in the episode, we get Mel arriving in St. Thomas and she brings her two single friends, Lauren and Shanita, with her. So they get to, the house, and as they're walking up, Mel makes mention of like, I hope I don't see any snakes. And this is a key point for me to bring up because Shanita mentions, well, Mel, you're around snakes every day, so you should be used to it. It shouldn't be a problem. And so that's one thing I just want you to pay attention to, because her mentioning that lets the viewer know that Shanita has some insight, lets us know that she has some backstory as to the relationships or the dynamics within the friendship or relationships that exist within Mel and the group. Even though I believe it's shown as though she's not privy to that, but it's a natural reaction. If your friend is on a show, you're gonna watch the show, you're gonna know. And if you all are friends, I'm pretty sure Mel talks about it with her. But anyway, they go into the house. The house is stunning. The views are amazing, and everybody's loving it. So Mel immediately says like, hey, I got to go ahead and do the room assignments. I don't want to be pulling straws or anything like that. I'm going to pick these rooms based on who I think should be where. So of course she gets the primary seat, which is gorgeous. And then Lauren and Shanita get their own separate rooms. She finds a room that has two beds together. So she decides to put Stormy and Trish in the same room. And then she puts Kimmy, Tisha, and her plus one in a room that has three beds. And then Miss Nell, she forgot a name card for Miss Nell's room. She made name cards for everyone to put on their beds for their room assignments. She forgets Miss Nell's, but she has a room for her. And then she gives Sunny a bigger room that's by herself, separate from everybody else, because she says that none of the other ladies are really feeling Sunny like that. So she, wants to put her somewhere where she can, kind of be by herself. So then we cut to the airport and we see the ladies arriving. So there's Stormy, there's Tisha, there's Kimmy, there's Miss Nell, and there's Trisha. So they're getting their bags off of the conveyor belt, and they are really struggling. They're like, this is why we have husbands. Like, oh, oh, woe is me. I have to get my own bag. This is why we need our husbands here, and so it's just this whole thing. And so then walks Sunny, and it's like the energy falls completely flat. Like no one really speaks to her except for Kenny. It's just like super cringe. So anyway, the Sprinter van arrives to pick them up from the airport to head to the house. As they're getting on, it's just like so awkward because nobody is really speaking to Sunny or really addressing her. Nell is on the van, and as Sunny is getting on, and she's just like, no to the no, to the no, no, no. And it's just so awkward. Anyway, Sunny in her confessional is saying that it's just really reminiscent of like going to a new school, and the mean girls are there. And I kind of get that vibe, but I also understand the other side as well. Like Destiny's their friend. So it's just like, we don't really mess with you like that. So anyway, Stormy is talking about how she starts to get a little separation anxiety from missing her son. And it's like the other women are like, oh no, that'll change once you have another one, because once that second child comes, it's like deuces, I'm up out of here. So I think Sunny sees this as an opportunity to kind of mosey her way on in. And it's like, oh, so Stormy, are you going through that right now? In other words, like asking her, is she looking to have another? And I think that's her way of like gaining some sort of sympathy or connection within the group. So she shares about how she had a failed IVF experience and she's currently going through a split IVF cycle. So Stormy does show and express some sympathy for her with regards to that. So anyway, they arrive at the house and they walk in, they see the view. Everybody is really impressed until they see their rooms. In her confessional, Sunny mentions that she's hoping for a chance for her and Mel to get to bond during the trip. And it's just really kind of baffling to me because I believe that given the circumstances, Mel is not somebody that would really befriend Sunny. Like, I don't see that happening. I feel like even Mel's initial reaction to seeing Sunny and Moses at the podcast show, Mel's disposition about Sunny then is a quite different reaction that we're getting now. So I don't know that she would really befriend Sunny in that way. And I think obviously for the camera, she plays it up because Mel needs an ally. I think that's the whole reason that CHANITA and Lauren are here. And Mel needs someone that she can have to be her friend, to be, somebody to film with. And so Sunny is that person for her. Anyway, she tells everybody, go find your rooms. Everybody has a name tag. So they're all running through the house trying to find their rooms. Um, Nell can't find her room. She throws a fit about it. And when I tell you a fit, I'm talking about a whole capital FIT. It gets kind of crazy. Tisha and Kimmy are not pleased. They see that they're in a room with 3 beds with a shared bathroom. They're not happy. They go outside and Tisha expresses how she feels that the room assignments just gives her all of the answers that she needs and lets her know how Mel really feels about them. So there's this whole conundrum with Miss Nell about the room. So she addresses Mel about it and she's like, listen, I don't have one with my card. Where's my room? And Mel lets her know, like, hey, my people, they forgot to print your name on the card. But the room that doesn't have a card, that's your room. You got a nice big room. And Miss Nell is still just like not feeling it. She is really upset about this card. She's telling her, I took care of you in Houston. I didn't really care about nobody else, but I made sure I took care of you. Mel lets her know, like, I got you, Miss Nell. You're one of the elders. And so Miss Nell finds issue with that. She's like, you keep throwing shade, about the age thing. And Mel tries to let her know, no, it's a way of respect, like you are older than us. But Miss Nell is not having it about these cards. She's like, I want my card. I want my card. That's all she wanted was the card. And I do notice that while Miss Nell is talking to Mel, she does have a drink in her hand. And it just leads me to wonder, like, has she been drinking on the flight? Has she been drinking before she got there? She already mentioned having anxiety about being separated from Fletcher. So I'm like, maybe all of this is being prompted by her consumption of alcohol. Maybe not. I could be wrong, but I'm just wondering if that's the case because I can't think of any other reason to be this upset about a card, you know? But hey, and then it also gives me reason to like kind of see where her children are coming from when they tell her that she needs therapy. She's the one that needs the anger management and everything because Miss Nell is popping out pop, 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 like right off the handle. So CHANITA steps in and she's offering Miss Nell, like, listen, look, you can have my room if this is going to mitigate everything. And Miss Nell is like, no, at this point, it's not even about the room, it's about the card. So then Sunny comes over. I'm going to start calling her producer Sunny because I think that once you're a producer, it's probably hard to get out of that role. But she sees this opportunity to say, listen, it's something going on outside. So she's like, Mel, it seems like some people aren't too happy about their rooms. Maybe you should go out and see what's going on with that. So Mel goes outside. she talks to Kimmy and Letitia, and she's just like, hey, what's going on? What is it? She explains her reasoning for the rooms. And she's like, well, you all have a +1. Tisha's bringing a +1. And so you all are, sisters in law. So I figured, that it would be a good idea. And Kimmy is like, for the amount of people, that space is just really, really small. And Tisha is just not buying it. She's like, I don't know why Mel just can't accept just being truthful about it. She knows that she did this because she knew that Sonny was coming, and that was like their punishment. So anyway, producer Sunny back on the inside of the house is like, oh, somebody needs to go out there. Miss Nell, why don't you go out there and see what they doing? See if Mel needs anything. And I'm like, Miss Nell is the last person that should be going out. Like, how sway? Like, why would you send Miss Nell? She's just been in here popping off left and right about a name card. So you think she's the one that should go out there? So Miss Nell goes out there and it just wreaks havoc all over again. She gets into it with Kimmy. She's pretty much letting them know, like, listen, I know that people weren't pleased about things in Houston, and everybody just had to suck it up. So that's what y'all just need to do. And that just kind of really triggers Kimmy and sets her off, because now she's like, no, I don't need no other grown person telling me to suck it up. Like, that's not what we're doing. So they get into this heated spat back and forth, and I'm like, is this even really called for? So as they're going back and forth, Miss Nell is like, now which one of y'all said something about fighting? And Tisha and Kimmy are looking like, what? Nobody said anything about fighting. Tisha leans in and pulls up Nell's shirt because part of her upper chest area was exposed, and that sets Miss Nell off again. She's like, don't put your hands on me. It's just like a lot. They go back and forth. Miss Nell goes back into the house because she's just like, this is all just too much. Mel gets inside and she asks Miss Nell to come over and talk to her. And Miss Nell is not trying to hear. She's like, I don't want to have anything to do with it. Listen, just come over and talk to me. Mel tries to, get her to cool off a little bit. She asked her to calm down. She was like, do you feel like you're doing a lot? Miss Nell is just like, even if I did a lot, do not put your hands on me. She's like, but do you feel like you did a lot? She's like, even if I did, do not put your hands on me. And I'm just like, Miss Nell is the classic case of a person that's like, I'm not accepting any responsibility for that. Like, no, I'm not going down on that shit. So then we cut to a scene where everyone is just awkwardly sitting on the couches. It's like that moment where it's like the calm after the storm. And then Mel comes up and she introduces the entertainment, and everyone is having a good time after the entertainment comes out. And I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like sometimes Mel comes off a bit rehearsed. Like, she has these plans and everything, and she knows exactly what she's going to say and how she's going to say it. And I don't want to say that it comes off as contrived, but I can see how it can be perceived that way. So they have some dancers come out, and it's like a carnival theme. And so they have the women in the carnival attire. They have some guys that come out and they dance, and Mel's asking them, like, the fellas, can you move your hips or whatever? And they come and they dance, and it's giving like how Stella got her groove back. So that's that. So then they all head over to dinner. They go to the table. And Chanita asks Sonny where she's from, and Sonny's like, oh, I'm from St. Louis. And she's like, oh yeah, that's right, Mel told me. So that's another point I want you to pay attention to, is that we are also reminded yet again that Mel has given Chanita some insight about this group. And so she's like, yeah, I told Mel, don't mess with her. That people from the Midwest, they have this heightened defense mechanism. And Tisha says, well, don't sleep on people from the South. And Sonny is just like, no, y'all all sweet as pie. And I think it's Kimmy or somebody else. They're like, yeah, they're sweet until they're not. And so then Tisha asks Mel, she's like, so Mel, why is it that you specified your single friends are coming on the trip? Like, why was it specific to single? And Mel tells her, well, it's no thing about that. It's just my single friends. And Tisha, I guess, is wondering, like, are you trying to say that they're more fun than us? And they have a discussion about how married friends tend to have, in other words, more boundaries than like single friends do. And then Chanita goes on to say something that was really profound in that moment. And she says that she defines a friend by how they treat you when things don't go their way. And it was something that's really good. Like, when things aren't going great, when things are going against how they want them to be, how do they treat you? And I even just posed that question to you as well. And it's something that I'm just going to sit and settle with myself to kind of gauge my relationships and my friendships. And so Tisha kind of has a thing where she's like, well, no, I don't feel like completely that way. She's like, I feel like I can be around someone that I don't like. I'm an adult. And Chanita looks over to Mel and she's like, oh, you're going to have to watch her. And it's just kind of like, huh? And I don't know, it could just be me again, but I feel like Chanita gives off this very aggressive type energy. It's a very strong energy that kind of can come off passive aggressive, and then sometimes it's just aggressive. And I feel like in the past I've had issues with these types of personalities, and I feel that it can be very off-putting if you're on the receiving end of it, or even if you're just a bystander. But for the person that's the friend with that type of personality, oh, as Stormy would say, you're Gucci, because you know that this person is going to ride for you. You know that this person is going to be down for you until they're not. But seemingly so, it's like you want to have that kind of person in your corner, not somebody that's going to waver. You want somebody loyal. And that seems like who Chanita might be. So then Mel brings up Trish having a problem with Sunny because of Destiny. And Trisha feels like what happened between the two of them was wrong. So Chanita looking like, what happened? What is it? And so Mel gives her this sort of like phony rundown because you already know that Chanita knows the story. So she tells her, Destiny was dating Moses. Sunny was Destiny's producer. Sunny then is now married to Moses. And so Shanita's like, well, why they mad at Sunny? They should be mad at Moses. So then all of the girls who are on Destiny's side, they come to her defense and they're like, no, no, no. Yes, I mean, I guess from the perspective, it's like, yes, you should be mad at Moses, but also I can see their perspective where it's like, no, we're going to be mad at Sunny too, because Destiny considered Sunny a friend. So they feel like it was just wrong because they would hang out outside of work and, they were friendly with one another. So Shanita's like, no, because when you have a producer, it's their job to get to know everything about you, your man, your car, your cat, your dog, your bird, your Dorito crumb on your left big toe. And so then Nell is like, okay, so how this gonna work when Destiny comes? Tisha, is she still coming tomorrow? And she's like, because I don't like talking about people when they're not around. And I just thought this was so funny because I'm like, y'all was having a field day at the last group event talking about Sunny. But nevertheless, here we are. So Chanita asks Tisha, why would she invite someone who she knows has so much history with Mel? And Tisha explains like, well, Destiny's a part of our friend group. And she's also a member of this, pretty much of this cast, And she said, and she told Mel that Destiny was coming. And Mel is looking like, no, you didn't tell me. And so then they show the screenshots where Tisha did send a message to Mel. We don't know if Mel read it, if, she responded. It didn't look like she responded. I don't know. But Mel is like, she didn't know Destiny was coming in so many words, forget Destiny. So it's just all really interesting at this time. And so Chanita looks at Mel and she's like, I told you to watch her. And she's like, Tisha has shown you 1,000 times the type of person that she is. And it's through her actions, not necessarily her words, but I guess it isn't her words. She's like, because she's choosing this person over you. And it's just really showing you like that she is not your friend. So the episode ends there. And my takeaway for the mess to the message.
Turn the mess into a message here. Every episode we dissect clear. From the chaos we steer.
So there's a whole lot of mess going on in this episode, but one of the things that stood out to me is to not sweat the small stuff, y'all. A name card, seriously. And I can see that some of these situations can cause huge rifts in relationships and in friendships. I feel like a lot of times we are so prone to finding the mistakes in other people that we're looking and searching on the prowl for something because of some insecurities that we have ourselves or something that we haven't dealt with. And I could be completely wrong about Miss Nell, but in this situation, I'm reminded of someone being triggered by something from their past and them feeling left out or not included or feeling less than, that someone didn't include them or, whatever. And I see that being manifested in the way that she responded to a name card. So what somebody may look at on the surface is like, oh, it's as simple as a name card. That could be triggering for somebody. But we have to learn how to deal with our triggers and deal with some of those past traumas so that we aren't bleeding on people that don't deserve to be bled on, or on people that didn't cut us. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one of the things, is to not sweat the small stuff. And another lesson here is, if you have a loyal friend is closer than a sister or a brother. And so it's just like, if you have those loyal friends, make sure that you keep them close to you and don't take them for granted, and make sure that you are reciprocating that same level of loyalty with them. I've had some relationships in the past where it ended because I felt like I was a loyal friend, but it wasn't reciprocated. And it can be heartbreaking and devastating at times. But for me, loyalty is a big thing. And so, one thing I can appreciate about CHANITA in this episode is that for now, she is seemingly a loyal friend to Mel, which I feel like Mel needs on this show. It often feels like it's like everybody kind of gang up on Mel, but on the flip side, Mel has also created enemies within the show. So yeah, that's what we have today for our mess into a message. Thank y'all so much for tuning into the recap, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.